began as a simple investigation of some bizarre murders in the suburbs of Raccoon City. Nothing in our training could ever have prepared us for the nightmare that ensued.
Resident Evil 0.
Welcome back to our Resident Evil series, where we explore the Resident Evil lore by looking at each game's story in detail. In this video, we will be looking at the lore of the first game in the Resident Evil timeline, Resident Evil 0. So, let's get started.
What should I call you?
The name is Rebecca Chambers, but that's Officer Chambers to you.
Before diving into the plot of Resident Evil 0, we will first take a look at the two main protagonists of the game, which the player alternates between during gameplay. The two protagonists being, of course, Rebecca Chambers and Billy Coen. Let's start with Rebecca, or as I like to call her, Resident Evil 0's favorite child. I mean, just look at how many more outfits she has than Billy. Rebecca, whose full name is Rebecca Chambers, was born in 1980, making her about 8 years younger than Billy. When she was young, Rebecca was considered a child prodigy. She was admitted to university at a young age and graduated with a bachelor's degree in chemistry at the age of 18. Rebecca was soon scouted for her talents by various groups, including an elite special forces division under the jurisdiction of the Raccoon Police Department, known as the Special Tactics and Rescue Service, or STARS. The STARS team was created by Albert Wesker, and he handpicked Raccoon City's best and brightest to join, which included Rebecca. The STARS team was called only for the most dangerous and harrowing assignments at Raccoon City, which quickly earned them local hero status in no time. The core team was eventually split into two teams, the Alpha team, which Wesker led, and the Bravo team, which Enrico Marini led. In June of 1998, just 1 month before the events of Resident Evil 0, Rebecca was assigned to the Bravo team. Rebecca joined as a medic, with her expertise in medicine making up for her lack of combat experience, though she also served as rear security. Despite her young age and somewhat childish behavior at times, but hey, no one's perfect, Rebecca was known to be brave and calm in the face of adversity.
I can handle this on my own, and don't call me little girl.
A document of Rebecca's profile would describe her as follows. A member of STAR's Bravo team, Rebecca is an expert in the manufacture and preparation of pharmaceuticals and serves as the team's medic. She is highly talented and graduated college at the young age of 18. Although she looks delicate, she is a woman of action and calm in the face of danger. She lacks expertise in actual combat, so she can appear childish at times and can sometimes hesitate when finding herself overwhelmed by an unknown situation. That's Rebecca in a nutshell.
Lieutenant Coen.
So, you seem to know me. Been fantasizing about me, have you?
Let's next talk about Billy. Billy, whose name is William Coen, was born in 1972. Not much is known about Billy's early years, but what we do know is that he was a former member of the United States Marine Corps Force Reconnaissance, or Force Recon for short. This group is one of the United States Special Operations Capable Forces, and it focuses on obtaining intelligence through methods such as surveillance and reconnaissance, hence the name. However, the Force Recon also engages in direct combat, including through so-called black operations. While at the Force Recon, Billy was a second lieutenant, which is the lowest ranking commissioned position in the Marine Corps, with most officers entering as second lieutenant. After mid-1997, the United States was intervening in a local conflict in Africa in a top-secret anti-guerrilla operation. Billy and his squad were sent out to confront a group of guerrillas head-on at their base deep within the African jungle. But the squad would suffer heavy casualties. You see, instead of being dropped off next to their target location, the squad was dropped far away from the intended target. and the march to the guerrilla base was long and difficult. During the journey, several team members perished at the hands of guerrilla attackers, and others would fall as a result of extreme heat and fever.
Our unit was ordered to Africa to intervene in a civil war. Our mission was to raid a hideout of some guerrilla forces located deep inside the jungle. But the hideout was far away from our entry point. Some died from the heat. Others were killed by the enemy. In the end, only 4 of us survived.
When they finally reached their destination, Billy's squad was down to only 4 members. And to add to their troubles, they realized they hadn't arrived at the intended guerrilla base. Instead, they had arrived at a random village. Furious, the squad leader ordered his men to take out the villagers anyway so as not to come back empty-handed. Having, a heart, Billy refused. For this, Billy was knocked out with the butt of a rifle, while the other 3 squad members rained fire on the 23 innocent villagers.
Get rid of them! Kill them all!
Please, sir! Cease fire immediately!
Shut up! Do it!
Rumors quickly spread about the botched operation following the mission. A commission was established to investigate. Faced with an ever-increasing scandal over the event, the military decided to use Billy as a scapegoat. Billy was therefore blamed for the taking of the villagers' lives, due to an apparent temporary loss of sanity. Billy was taken to a psychiatric hospital for a medical analysis and found to be sufficiently sane to stand trial. He was found guilty under Clause 1, Article 118 of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, and was sentenced to capital punishment. An in-game memo explains the public's negative reaction to the entire scandal.
A dark day in Africa. Rumors surround Dunwall Marine Base, situated in the American heartland. These rumors were sparked by the UN condemnation of the guerrilla cleanup operation in Africa. An NPO has disclosed that the execution of 23 alleged soldiers was actually the slaughter of 23 innocent local inhabitants. The military has retracted their initial statements about the operation, and the world is in an uproar over their involvement in the affair. An investigation committee has been quickly assembled to look into the incident. The results of the inquiry are disturbing. They have announced that the truth of the matter is that one Marine panicked under the extreme conditions and unintentionally killed the civilians. This Marine is said to be currently being held under close medical supervision and will receive just punishment in full accordance with the law. Details of the individual remain undisclosed at this time. The military's reluctance to disclose information has only fueled media claims of a cover-up. Should the top brass be allowed to shirk responsibility for a soldier in their command massacring 23 innocent people? Does this cold-blooded killing machine of a Marine even exist? This would not be the first time the military kept information on an operation quiet. But the emergence of a single soldier to blame seems all too convenient and reeks of conspiracy. If they do not disclose the full truth behind the incident, there is no foundation for regaining the trust of the citizens they are supposed to protect. The military will not be able to escape the suspicions of the people, nor the family of the soldier implicated in this sad affair. Dunwall Marine Base continues to deny media access to the facility, while soldiers continue their drills as if nothing has happened. Where is the justice? Is this what our America has become? We all want to believe that our brave, shining knights in the U.S. military have our best interests at heart. So we can only hope and wait for an appropriate response to the public's outrage. So yeah, people weren't buying the whole one person just went crazy story. But sadly for Billy, the public's suspicion was not enough to alter his sentence. But fate would soon intervene. On July 23rd, 1998, about 1 year after Billy's incident in Africa, Billy was being transported through the Arklay Mountains at the outskirts of Raccoon City, en route to his impending execution. During his trip, however, the vehicle transporting him was attacked by mutant leeches and crashed. Billy survived and was able to escape, leading to the events of the Resident Evil 0 game. Now that we have looked at the protagonists of Resident Evil 0, we can go into the plot and lore of the game. So let's dive in. As night falls one evening of July 23rd, 1998, the Ecliptic Express, a train owned by Umbrella, travels through the Arklay Mountains. The Ecliptic Express was part of Umbrella's efforts to provide its employees with privately operated short-line railroads in Arklay County, home to Raccoon City, to reduce the likelihood that they, or Umbrella's secrets, would be revealed to the general public. The Ecliptic Express was designed to transport people rather than cargo to exclusive terminals close to Umbrella's headquarters. The Arklay Mountains were located at the outskirts of Raccoon City, and thousands of notorious Umbrella Corporation facilities, including the Arklay Laboratory and the Umbrella Executive Training School. Fun fact, if you've ever wondered where the super helpful green, blue, and red herbs in Resident Evil come from, it's from the Arklay Mountains. With a whole forest of them, you would think it would be easier to keep more than just 2 in your inventory at all times during the games. Anyways, Umbrella had planned for the Ecliptic Express to arrive at the Umbrella's Executive Training School on that fateful evening of 1998, after traveling deep into Raccoon Forest. The employees had set out to find a replacement for the Arklay Laboratory by recruiting scientists, technicians, and workers to oversee the training school's renovations and reopening. At around 8 p.m., however, leeches suddenly launched an organized attack on the train. Several leeches break through the windows and attack the passengers of a train as they are being watched by a mysterious man singing an opera piece from a nearby mountaintop.
Do you think so too?
Yeah.
Do about it.
Hold off for a while.
But I wonder how those hiring people would react to this.
This mystery person is none other than the Queen Leech, a monster created as a result of Dr. James Marcus's experiments before his passing. And why would this opera-loving queen man want to sabotage an Umbrella train? Well, because it wanted revenge on Umbrella for taking out its creator, Dr. Marcus, as we'll discuss more in detail later. The train stops not far from the Spencer Mansion, which is obscured by a forest of trees. Those who survive the leech attack awake as zombies with cannibalistic urges. Umbrella is alerted to the attack immediately, and a team from the Umbrella Security Service, or USS, is dispatched with instructions to retrieve the train. But the USS team too comes under attack. Soon, the Raccoon Police Department's elite force, known as STARS, is notified of the attack. A unit within STARS called the Bravo Team, which Rebecca is a part of, is deployed in a helicopter to the Arklay Mountains. They are tasked with finding what's behind the cannibalistic and animal attacks in the area. But at around 10 p.m., the helicopter's engine suffers a sudden and catastrophic failure, and the team is forced to make an emergency landing.
Struggling with the helicopter's controls, the pilot and co-pilot manage to keep the helicopter in the air until the tail rotor collides with a tree branch, sending the helicopter into a violent spin. However, the pair is able to land the battered helicopter in one piece, with minimal casualties.
It began as a simple investigation of some bizarre murders in the suburbs of Raccoon City. Nothing in our training could ever have prepared us for the nightmare that ensued. We never stood a chance.
What's going on? Engine failure. Emergency landing.
Our favorite field medic, Rebecca, is of course amongst the survivors. Though no one knows for sure what caused the engine failure, it is believed that Albert Wesker, who was at this time part of STAR's Alpha team, sabotaged the engine to lure the STAR's team into Spencer's mansion, so they could be used as guinea pigs to test the strength of Umbrella's mutations.
It was a stormy night when the leeches overwhelmed the Ecliptic Express. The Special Forces unit sent to investigate the area reported an emergency, but the announcement was suddenly cut off and followed only by silence. Enter the STAR's unit member, Rebecca Chambers. Umbrella has been at the center of my plans for a long time, but the train incident would prove to be the beginning of the end.
So yeah, I guess Wesker just has a habit of betraying everyone he has ever come into contact with. Following the landing, pilot Kevin Dooley stays behind, as the remaining Bravo team investigates the surrounding area. This would turn out to be a poor choice on Dooley's part, as he would soon be attacked by a mutated Umbrella breed of dog called Cerberus. The remaining Bravo team members, including Rebecca, travel until they reach a damaged military vehicle. All of its drivers had perished, and the team finds Billy's file, who at this time was being transported to face his maker, but who was nowhere to be found. The Bravo team leader, Captain Enrico Marini, has the team up and running on the theory that Billy must have taken out his guards so he could escape, and tells the team to look out for him.
Captain, look! Captain!
What happened?
Court order for transportation. Prisoner Billy Coen, ex-lieutenant, 26 years old. Court-martialed and sentenced to death July 22nd. Prisoner is to be transferred to the Regathon base for execution.
Those poor soldiers. They were good men just doing their jobs, and that scum murdered them and escaped.
All right, everyone, let's separate and survey the area. Our friend is brutal and ruthless. Keep your guard up.
So, Rebecca sets out and searches for Raccoon Forest and discovers the Ecliptic Express train, stopped in its tracks and with the lights on. She slowly and cautiously makes her way into the train, weapon drawn. She enters and announces herself as a member of the Bravo team. She continues to walk through the train until she runs into a man that looks to be deceased as a result of heavy injuries. But the man wakes up and begins to inch closer to Rebecca. Rebecca turns around, only to realize she's surrounded by several zombie-looking men. After getting away from them, she makes her way to the front of the train and runs into Billy. As charming as he is, Billy, of course, pulls out a weapon and points it toward Rebecca. If that's not how you make instant friends, then I don't know how you do. Rebecca tries to arrest Billy, but he, of course, resists. At this point, it seems Rebecca realizes that her time is better spent figuring out what in the world is going on rather than chasing Billy.
Billy. Lieutenant Coen.
So, you seem to know me. Been fantasizing about me, have you?
You're the prisoner that was being transferred for execution. You were with those soldiers outside.
Oh, I see. You're with stars. Well, no offense, honey, but your kind doesn't seem to want me around, so I'm afraid our little chat time is over.
Wait! You're under arrest.
No thanks, Dollface. I've already worn handcuffs.
I could shoot, you know.
It's at this time that one of her Bravo team members, helicopter co-pilot Edward Dewey, jumps through the window. He only has enough strength to warn Rebecca of all the zombies and monsters in the forest. But there is no time for Rebecca to grieve, as she is chased by a Cerberus zombie dog. After escaping, Rebecca receives a radio call from her team leader, Enrico Marini. He tells her that he has found new evidence, suggesting that Billy was sentenced for taking the lives of 23 people and was then committed to a mental institution. Before she can say anything, however, the radio transmission cuts off. At this point, Rebecca runs into Billy again, who proposes they work together. But Rebecca, understandably hesitant to trust a wanted felon and a mental institution escapee, explains to him that she is a strong, independent woman who don't need no man. Oh, and that she's not a little girl.
It's gonna be dangerous from here on in. Why don't we cooperate?
Cooperate with you?
Listen, little girl, if you haven't noticed, there's some pretty freaked out things on this train. And I, for one, want to get out of here. I don't think we stand a chance doing it alone.
You expect me to trust you, a wanted felon? I don't need your help. I can handle this on my own. And don't call me little girl.
All right, Miss Do-It-Yourself. What should I call you?
The name is Rebecca Chambers, but that's Officer Chambers to you.
Well then, Rebecca, why don't you go and try while I wait here?
So Rebecca ventures on her own for now, and she soon discovers a man slumped over a dining room table on the train's upper level. When Rebecca touches him and asks if he's doing okay, the man transforms into a swarm of leeches. An angry and violent swarm of leeches with long tentacles. As Rebecca is about to be engulfed by the leeches, however, Billy comes to her rescue, shooting the leeches off of Rebecca and showing off his slick mid-air aiming skills. This earns Rebecca's trust, but before they can say anything, they see the Queen Leech in the distance doing his opera bit.
Are you okay?
Rebecca comes to the realization that she has to work together with Billy if she wants to get out of the train alive, so she reluctantly agrees to work with him for the time being. Around this time, the pair comes face to face with a giant scorpion named Stinger. It turns out this scorpion was one of Dr. Marcus's test subjects, and which mutated into its gargantuan form as a result of the T-virus. It was developed as one of Umbrella's earliest prototype bioweapons. The scorpion grew tremendous in size, and its exoskeleton hardened so as to resist bullets. But it was nonetheless seen as a failed experiment, because the Stinger's head had weakened and could be broken by gunfire, and its venom gland had shrunk in size, meaning it could not poison its prey. But if you're anything like me, you still struggle to defeat this darn thing because of Resident Evil Zero's clunky fight mechanics. After the pair defeats Stinger, the train finally starts moving. But this turns out to be part of an operation by the Umbrella Security Service. Albert Wesker and William Birkin had tasked them with relocating the train so they could examine the scene of the attack, because they wanted to understand how the T-virus had leaked. Little did they know that the Queen Leech was behind it all. And the Umbrella Security Service men were attacked by a swarm of leeches, turning them into zombies. The train speeds up as it travels through the mountains, so now Rebecca and Billy have to figure out a way to stop this speeding train before it crashes with them inside, and they have to do it fast. To prevent the train from derailing, Billy and Rebecca adjust the emergency brakes at the front and back of the train. The train begins to brake, but it's already too late, and it drives right through a cliff into an underground train station, where it derails. The pair manages to make their way out of the tunnel where the train crashed. As they climb up a ladder, they find themselves in a large building. Little did Rebecca and Billy know that they had stumbled into Dr. Marcus's old Umbrella Executive Training School, which Umbrella had used in the 1970s for research purposes and to educate its trainees. Immediately upon entering the building, they are greeted by an eerie recording of Dr. Marcus's old company motto about such fun workplace things like complete obedience and power being life. Sounds like a swell place to work.
This is Dr. Marcus. Please be silent as we reflect upon our company motto. Obedience breeds discipline. Discipline breeds unity. Unity breeds power. Power is life.
It's at this time that we also learn that Rebecca and Billy are being watched by our two favorite researchers, who are definitely not traitors, Wesker and Birkin. See, Wesker and Birkin were interested in testing Umbrella's untrained forces, and they thought Rebecca and Billy would be perfect test subjects.
The T-virus is near completion and only needs test data. That is why STARS is in place.
But the joke is on them, as their feet is cut by the Queen Leech, who explains that he released the T-virus onto the train in the Arclay laboratory. And why, might you ask? Revenge, for Dr. Marcus, to be precise. The Queen Leech knows Umbrella used Albert Wesker and William Birkin to take out Dr. Marcus, his creator, and he wanted to punish Umbrella for it.
Who are you?
It was I who scattered the T-virus in the mansion. Needless to say, I contaminated the train too.
What?
Revenge on Umbrella.
Dr. Marcus?
10 years ago, Dr. Marcus was murdered by Umbrella. You helped them, didn't you?
For now, our protagonists, Rebecca and Billy, continue to investigate the Umbrella Executive Training School. And it is at this point that they come face to face with another mutated creature, a huge centipede called Centurion. Yuck! Centurion does not appear to have been created by Dr. Marcus, at least not on purpose, as investigations of the training school did not reveal any evidence that Dr. Marcus ever performed experiments on centipedes. The most likely explanation is that Centurion was a freak accident resulting from a centipede consuming contaminated matter inside the training school. This is not very difficult to believe, as Dr. Marcus had allowed the place to go to shambles, with bodies and hazardous materials laying around everywhere. Regardless of its origin, what matters is that this massive centipede is hungry, and it thinks Rebecca is lunch. So, it grabs onto Rebecca, and Billy is forced to take it down without accidentally hurting her. Luckily, the game is forgiving of players like me who just blasted at the centipede with absolutely zero disregard for Rebecca's safety.
Rebecca! Rebecca! Are you all right?
Yes, thank you.
After defeating Centurion, Rebecca and Billy continued their journey through the Umbrella Executive Training School, and slowly the pair begin to find evidence of what really used to take place at this forsaken place, namely, Dr. Marcus's deliberate use of children and his own students as test subjects in his virus and bioweapon research. It became clear that many students were turned into zombies as a result of the research. That's right. If you ever wondered where those zombies that roamed the halls of the training school came from, they were Dr. Marcus's old students, who mutated and were abandoned for some 20 years. Rebecca and Billy, for example, would run into the following diary from an old student at the training school, describing the fate of a classmate, and the students as well. You can see the deterioration in spelling as the journal progresses.
Management Trainee's Diary. What is it that Dr. Marcus is researching all the time? And what's with his weird interest in leeches? Interest? Seems more like love at times. Rumor has it that there's something dangerous about those leeches. It is true that when Dennis just touched one, he got ill with a fever. Again, today, there were those horrible moans beyond that door. Let sleeping dogs. No way I'll go near them. Even if the director ordered me, I don't want to end up like Dennis. That poor son of a gun. Scratching and scratching makes me itch just watching him. Must maybe go if can, but Dennis gone, I go, hungry. Help, Mom.
Other zombie creatures roaming around the training school are Umbrella's own employees who had been tasked with refurbishing the school for reopening. They had clearly fallen prey to the mutated creatures, resulting in the employees becoming infected. So yeah, even if Umbrella offers you like $1 bazillion to work there, maybe just don't. Rebecca also runs into a torture chamber, fully geared with wall chains, spiked iron chairs, and even an Iron Maiden. This is where Dr. Marcus's infected test subjects, including his own students, would be subjected to inhumane acts. It's also at this time that we begin to see a rift between Albert Wesker and William Birkin, who are clearly rattled by having seen someone that resembled their old teacher, Dr. Marcus, the man who they personally took out. We also learn of Wesker's and Birkin's true intentions, and their growing disloyalty for Umbrella. While Wesker feels like the T-Virus is the solution to the human problem and simply wants to gather more combat data by having the STARS team face against mutated creatures, Birkin is obsessed with completing what he sees as the next step in his research, the G-Virus. As we'll see, the G-Virus would turn out to be both more powerful and more unstable than the T-Virus, triggering excessively violent and totally uncontrollable mutations in life forms. Regardless, what they can agree on is that Dr. Marcus's double has to be destroyed, and the training school must be turned into rubble, so their secret plot against Dr. Marcus never gets out.
It just doesn't make sense. Do you honestly believe this to be the real identity of that crazy young man? Impossible. But if somehow it is true, then Umbrella will be finished.
If the old conspiracy against Dr. Marcus is revealed, Mr. Spencer's career will be over. Not to mention ours, too. So, the time has come at last.
What are you going to do?
I will simply say goodbye to Umbrella. The biological weapon utilizing the T-Virus has almost been completed. Our only remaining task is to acquire combat data.
You can't be serious. I refuse to abandon my work. I have finished the research on the T-virus, but I need a little more time to complete the more powerful G-virus.
Do as you wish. I will follow my initial plan and lure the STARS members into the mansion. Their superior combat training should make them perfect test subjects.
Fine. In the meantime, something must be done about that madman. As I recall, URC is equipped with a self-destruct device in the basement. I'll find it, set it off, and annihilate the place to nothing more than a mass of rubble.
While this is happening, Rebecca is attacked by a mutated monkey and falls into a massive hole in the ground that comes out of nowhere. Billy rushes to Rebecca, again, while fighting mutated monkeys himself, and saves Rebecca just in the nick of time. Now, let's talk about these mutated monkeys called Eliminators. The Eliminators was one of Dr. Marcus's early prototype bioweapons, developed by injecting the T-virus into primates. Unlike humans mutated by the T-virus, Eliminators did not suffer from acute brain damage, which was believed to be a result of a stronger immune system. Therefore, unlike the aimless zombie-like creatures roaming the training school, Eliminators were capable of following basic commands. Another side effect of the T-virus was an increase in muscle development, which led to the ruptures in the skin and thus giving the Eliminators their distinct injured-looking skin. Umbrella did not view the Eliminator as a viable bioweapon product. But, in my humble opinion, if Umbrella had mass-produced these monkeys, it could have taken over the world in minutes because they are the most annoying enemies ever. Not only do they stun you forever, but they can somehow withstand like 30 shotgun rounds. But I digress. Let's get back to the story. After Billy saves Rebecca from falling into oblivion, Rebecca receives a call from her team leader, Enrico Marini, asking if she has seen Billy. She quickly lies and says she hasn't, telling Enrico that she will continue searching for him. And it's at this time that Rebecca confronts Billy about the incident in Africa, asking him if he had really committed those atrocities to the innocent villagers as a result of a lapse in sanity. Billy tells her his story, but doesn't actually deny committing the act, presumably because it's just too complicated and she wouldn't get it.
Billy, I just need to know. I need to know the truth. Did you kill 23 people? I'm not going to judge you. I just want to know the truth.
It was around this time last year. Only, there was no guerrilla hideout.
What do you mean?
The idiots in charge had us operating based on wrong information. But we couldn't just go back home empty-handed, oh no. Our leader ordered us to attack an innocent village.
So did you execute those innocent people?
Forget about it. Doesn't matter anymore. That was then, this is now. Besides, you said you wouldn't judge me.
I'm not judging you, but it does matter. Look, now my people think you killed those MPs in the van, but I don't think you did. It was those zombie dogs, right? When they attacked the van, you were able to escape. Isn't that right?
You don't get it. I've only got two choices left. Either report to the Marines and serve out my sentence, or keep on running for as long as I can. That's all.
Like I said, it's complicated. Anyways, Billy and Rebecca eventually make their way to a crumbling chapel just outside the Umbrella Executive Training School, where they face a giant bat. Like previous creatures the pair had faced, this giant bat had mutated as a result of the T-virus. With a height of around 7 feet and a whopping combined wingspan of almost 25 feet, this massive bat is able to pick up the player with no issues. After defeating the giant bat, Billy and Rebecca take an elevator down into a run-down laboratory that Dr. Marcus used for his T-virus research. There, they find even more evidence of Dr. Marcus's cruel methods, including a room containing human specimens preserved in fluid-filled capsules, a thing on a nearby operating table, and an operating room splattered with blood from Dr. Marcus's procedures of his students. Needless to say, Billy and Rebecca leave as soon as possible and make their way to an underground cable car. But once they reach it, Billy and Rebecca are attacked by an eliminator monkey, which causes Billy to fall into a stream of water, and Rebecca is left to face an enemy that sneaks up from behind her. Rebecca manages to get away from the zombie and starts up the cable car. She rides it and makes her way to the Umbrella Chemical Plant, a large factory located downhill from the Umbrella Executive Training School. The chemical plant was built atop Nest, a top-secret bioweapons research facility where senior research staff such as William Birkin would conduct experiments. There, Rebecca runs into her team leader, Enrico Marini, who had entered Nest through the Arclay Laboratories subway tunnel. Though glad to see each other, they are confused as to why the rest of the team isn't with the other. Enrico decides to head back to the Arclay Laboratory, but Rebecca refuses to go, explaining that she needs to find Billy. She promises to catch up with him later, and Enrico agrees to go on without her. Rebecca would never see Enrico again.
Don't shoot! You're alive.
Are you okay, Rebecca?
Where is everybody?
They should have arrived here before me. Haven't you seen them? That's unfortunate. If we go straight from here, we should arrive at an old mansion which Umbrella uses for research. Come on, let's go.
Wait! I've got to find Billy.
Billy Coen? You mean you found that criminal?
Yes, but we got separated and...
No point worrying about him. He won't make it. Come on, let's go.
Sir, please. I need to find him. Don't worry, I'll catch up with you.
Rebecca... All right. Just be careful.
I never saw him again.
Soon after, Rebecca is confronted by another mutated creature, this time a creature named T-001, which has a very freaky looking middle finger. The T-001 was created by the Arclay Laboratories Tyrant Project team as part of their research into creating intelligent human bioweapons for military use. It suffered from a number of adverse side effects, however, the most significant of which was a reduced level of intelligence. This was believed to be the result of an overdose of T-virus during the initial infection. Therefore, although the T-001 possessed a superhuman level of strength, the reduction in its intelligence resulted in it being labeled a failure. It nonetheless demonstrated raw ferocity and served as a prototype for what would later be called the Tyrant series. You definitely know you are one of the bad guys when you name one of your creatures Tyrant. So, the T-001 had been placed in storage at Nest, awaiting disposal. But, as luck would have it for Rebecca, the Queen Leech's attack had freed it from its restraints. A fight between Rebecca and the monster ensues. After defeating T-001, Rebecca makes her way to an adjacent water treatment plant where she spots Billy about to be dragged underwater. She manages to power up the plant, allowing her to rescue Billy before his untimely demise. When Billy wakes up, they spot several remains of Dr. Marcus's old test subjects, again highlighting the brutality of his experimentation and his disregard for what happened to them after he was through with them.
Billy!
Rebecca, where am I?
You're safe now. Are you okay? Huh? What could have done this?
They must have been used as test subjects in Marcus's research. He must have kept messing around with the mother virus.
Billy?
Yeah, Dr. Marcus had it coming. Thereafter, Rebecca and Billy traverse through the plant, fighting off zombified workers and other mutated creatures. They are then attacked by the T-001 Rebecca fought earlier, but the pair makes quick work of it and manages to defeat it once more. They continue their way through the plant, and if you're lucky like me, you might get attacked by a super random frog that leaps out of nowhere. And if you're even luckier, you might just survive. Rebecca and Billy continued traveling through the plant until they came face to face with the Queen Leech himself. And it is at this time that they learn of Dr. Marcus's fate at the hands of Umbrella. See, Dr. Oswell E. Spencer betrayed Dr. Marcus in order to eliminate his last and only threat, and to steal his research all for himself. And he did so by having Dr. Marcus's two favorite students, Albert Wesker and William Birkin, betray and attack their old teacher. The Queen Leech had been born by mutated leeches consuming Dr. Marcus's body, which allowed his memories to be passed on to the Queen Leech. Understandably angry from having been betrayed, the Queen Leech now seeks revenge on Umbrella, and it transforms into a mutated form and attacks Billy and Rebecca, who fight and stop it.
Welcome, young ones. So glad you have joined the party. You are the guests of honor. After all, it's your wake.
Who are you? Dr. Marcus?
No, you can't be. What's going on?
10 years ago, Spencer had me assassinated.
Time to die, Doctor.
I will take over your research.
Wesker, Birkin.
However, something wondrous happened. It took the T-virus inside of my queen years to procreate my new life.
I live. Now I will have my revenge on Umbrella, and the world will burn in an inferno of hate.
You'll pay for what you've done.
We'll see which one of us is gonna die.
Just give me a minute to stop thinking about the Queen Leech puking out leeches. Ugh, so gross. Okay, so Billy and Rebecca continue their way through the plant until they run into an elevator that they believe will take them to the surface and allow them to escape. As they make their way up to the elevator, however, they are suddenly attacked by the Queen Leech, who just cannot leave them alone. The pair are thrown upwards to the ground floor onto a helicopter cargo warehouse, and an epic fight ensues.
What?
It's the Queen!
The self-destruct system has been activated. All personnel evacuate immediately. Repeat.
Who activated the self-destruct system?
Come on, can't this thing move any faster? Shit!
In the middle of the fight, the pair suddenly realize the Queen Leech is weak to light, and so Rebecca engages the controls to the warehouse's retractable roof, allowing light to come through and injuring the creature. And in a slick final move, Rebecca tosses a magnum to Billy, which Billy fires at the Queen Leech. The creature falls down the elevator shaft as the treatment plant explodes, along with the Umbrella Executive Training School.
Billy, we can't handle sunlight. We need to open the windows.
Follow me! You work on the windows.
Got it.
I'll use my charm to distract Her Majesty.
The self-destruct system has been activated. All personnel evacuate immediately. Repeat.
Billy!
Hey, Queenie! Feast on this!
Billy!
Rebecca, hurry!
Rebecca and Billy manage to escape, relieved to have survived the ordeal. Rebecca spots Dr. Spencer's mansion and Arclay laboratory that her team leader, Enrico Marini, had mentioned. She decides to head there, leading to the events of the next game, Resident Evil. But before that, Rebecca and Billy say their goodbyes, and Rebecca promises that she will not reveal Billy's whereabouts by taking his tag and declaring him as fallen in action. Having grown to respect one another, the pair salute each other in military fashion before heading their separate ways.
Hey, that must be the old mansion that Enrico was talking about. I guess it's time to say goodbye. Officially, Lieutenant Billy Coen is dead.
Yeah, I'm just a zombie now. Thank you, Rebecca.
This concludes the story and lore of the first game in the Resident Evil timeline, Resident Evil 0. We hope you enjoyed, and let us know what things you learned about the Resident Evil lore, or if there are any other details about the first game that you think are worth knowing. Join us next time when we look at the second game in the timeline, Resident Evil Remake. Until next time.